Hi and welcome to Market Minutes. I'm Sulhi and Azman, joined by Nadia Hassan. Companies in the news today, we have Sunway Construction Group Bhd, closed fairly flat at RM1.40 today, but the share price has risen by 28% since mid-August 2015. Now, Nadia, this is a company that has been listed last year.
Yeah, exactly. Was it last year?
Yes.
Oh yes! Oh my God! No. I always keep thinking it's the beginning of the year. Yeah. You're right. You know how fast time flies. We're talking about it. So it's only been a year, hence why. If you look at the earnings that we have, there's no comparative figures, we'll know a bit more. But the reason we're talking about construction today is because the Department of Statistics actually came out and said that Malaysia had a record year for civil engineering, up 30.1 billion, grew by 11.2%. There were a total apparently of 10,230 projects in the fourth quarter, which is an increase of 4.5%. Are you surprised?
Well, I'm not really surprised though, because Nadia, construction has always been seen as a bullish sectors, and the governments, they seem to be adopting Keynesian economies where they're going to be pumping in money and doing lots and lots of public investment infrastructure projects.
Exactly. So all of this seems to be a lot of underpinned by the government's projects. They're the ones that's going to be pushed. 10,230 jobs, of course, they're not all big jobs. They're not all MRT. You're talking about the subcontract packages. You're talking about, go on and on. You can subcontract as long as your arm. So it's a big thing. So Johor was interesting because Johor actually went up 6.9 billion to 22.8, which is higher, 22.8%. Selangor, unsurprisingly, not that far behind, 6.6 billion at 22%. Wilayah Persekutuan, I think by this fact that the landmass is smaller, 5.5 billion, and the rest is all Sarawak and Pulau Penang. It's 75.7% of all the construction in Malaysia. Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just amazing, And you're talking about these constructions, right? Also, Maybank has issued a report with still a buy call, but they increased the target price of 19% to RM1.65 from RM1.50 previously, because they say that Sunway is a good proxy for infrastructure and pure play construction player.
SunCon has an order book of 3.7 billion. In 2015 alone, relating to what we said about the stats, it secured 2.6 billion, It could get up to about 5.6 billion. That's what Maybank's actually thinking. They think that every 100 million job that they do will increase their target price by, 3%. That's quite big. They themselves in the report, if I were to read between the lines, they sounded pleasantly surprised. They were like, wow, it's more than even what we hoped.
Correct. And then, of course, under the new helm of Mr. Chung Soo Kyong, who will be helming the company in since November 2015, the group is actually looking for many other catalysts, such as the MR2 projects, LRT3 projects, KL Klang BRT. Have you tried, by the way, the bus rapid transit in Sunway?
No, I have not.
Yeah,
I have to make this admission on the screen. No, I have not actually. To be honest with you, we all know how the construction's going. That one is always very, very tough. So yeah. Yeah,
correct. And if you look at the earnings just before we wrap it up, the third quarters, they're quite steady. Anyway, moving on to the brokers' call today, we have Padini Holdings Bhd, closed unchanged at RM2.10 today. Now, the brokers' report today was courtesy of Maybank Investment Bank Bhd, and this company, Nadia, needs no introduction. Most of us buy clothes from there with brands like Padini, Seed, Authentics, Tizo, and Brands Outlet.
So Maybank actually has a hold on this stock. This stock, well, if the shoe fits, okay, fine, bad joke. So the shoe fits. The fact is they did increase the target price, although they did say it's a hold to RM2, because they do believe in the strong sales of apparel this year. Retail is one of the hardest things to kind of get in. Padini is not only fighting, with other people, local brands. You are talking about, trying to fight either H&M's, the MNGs, the Zaras of the world. Uniqlo, more than anything, right? You're talking about basics, Uniqlo, which has crazy deals and a fast-moving stock. So yeah, these guys are going to have a tough time, but they still seem to have kind of hold on. So according to Maybank, the near-term outlook does seem to be quite intact, because they are talking about the strong sales growth of Padini Concept Store and Brands Outlet. Have you been to Brands Outlet? There's a big one that's in Ikano Power Centre.
In Ikano Power Centre, that's where most of sometimes I go and shopping there for
it's interesting. Yeah,
shirts but quite a quality brand as well.
Exactly.
Our makeup artists would love them.
Well, that one is another thing entirely. So the expansion plans, though, they did say remain very much largely unchanged. 30 new outlets for 2016. I approve of that mostly because, okay, not saying that I do this kind of thing, but it's good that in trying times and Malaysia being really bad consumers, having really bad consumer sentiment, to be very, very conservative when it comes to your expansion. You don't want to expand to a store that doesn't attract anybody.
Yeah, correct. And this, differs from the previous guidance of 16 new outlets. By the way, the expansion plans are also reduced because some malls are actually not really operating or delayed, especially Sunway Velocity, Empire City Mall.
Well,
and
Malaysia
others.
never runs out of malls, do they?
No, never.
But even though Malaysia never runs out of malls, for some reason everybody still seems to go to One Utama or Mid Valley. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Anyway, just before we wrap it all up, as compared to the earnings, they are still quite okay, I suppose.
Actually, no more than okay. Look at the bottom line. Bottom line's up 65.6%. Good choice in this very, very kind of defensive market. This other thing before we finish up was that they actually have Padini.com up and running. I think it's a tough thing because we were talking about fighting H&M and Uniqlo. Who do you think you're fighting when you go online?
Yeah.
Everybody. Yeah, so it's up and running, whether it's going to be good for them, but it gives another outlet, so to speak.
Yeah, let's hope that it will bode well for them.
Yeah.
But anyway, so just to take it all home today, we have our brokers call today, Padini Holdings Bhd, where Maybank has a hold called a target price of ringgit, a target price of 2 ringgit. Anyway, that's all we have today. I'm Sulhi Azman, joined by Nadia Hassan. For more information, you can always log into our website at www.thehmarkets.com or get a physical copy of The Age Financial Daily, or if you can still also get a copy of The Age Weekly.
Actually, we have an app too, so you can actually look at stuff on there as well.
Yes, correct, from the Apple Store and also the Android Play Store.
Play.
Google Play, sorry. Good night and good luck.